All right, so another win against West Virginia against a pretty good rush defense. When you were kind of looking back in the film, what kind of jumped out to you about the line play against the Mountaineers?
We could have done a little bit more. We made some just we weren't on the same page on a couple of those things, and that could have freed up Kanye and Malik, and so. But we did enough to win the game. I thought the pass protection was good. Other than we had the first one, was a little wonky, but they did a good job of just being on the same page and in the protection wise, and just wish we had a couple plays that we would have executed better in the run game as far as communication and tracks and stuff.
Yeah, obviously Sam and Jeff are kind of similar quarterbacks to guys who like to move around a little bit, but is there any changes or impact in terms of just their play styles and with how maybe the pass protection sets up?
No, it's just the same. You know that we just got to give them a little bit of time, and if anything breaks down, they can help us and get themselves out of the situation. And whether it's a coverage or whether it's a guy losing on a one-on-one, they're both very similar. We got all the protections, and they both can handle it. They both, Jeff does a great job of putting us in the correct direction, just like Sam did. So, they're really, I think Coach Aguero's done a great job with those guys and just really putting them on the same page. And whether it's the command, whether it's the control of the huddle or just the communication, that Jeff has done a great job, just as Sam did.
This group has obviously faced a lot of adversity. A lot of guys, getting injured. Ben being out, and some younger guys having to step up.
Yeah.
Overall, just kind of overall in the nature of this team overcoming adversity. How have you seen your group kind of overcome the adversity throughout the course of the season?
Like you said, it's just guys playing different positions, guys, getting beat out, and then being able to stay in it and come in and help us at different times of the games. And sometimes your role as a starter changes, and sometimes your role as a backup changes. But the thing I like them that they're all prepared, and then they're all, when they get the opportunity, they make the most of it. So I do like that that they all know their role, and they all know they're important, and that at some point we're going to need them. And I do like rotating those guys in, and so it's fun to get to see them cheer for each other, even though they're competing for each other. It's just fun to see them high-fiving and just getting excited for each other on the sideline.
Is there maybe a silver lining that just with some of the injuries and some of the younger guys maybe playing a little bit earlier than ideally, that just maybe helps for kind of set the stage for 2026 and beyond?
And I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just trying to get to the next day. But guys are improving, and guys are different, have different strengths. Jamedo Obibo has a different strength than Makai Stewart. Kai Scott's different from Makua Pule, and Makua is different from Wade Helton. They all have different strengths, and try to play to it. And they all work their tails off, and we trust them when we get out there. So, all right, we'll roll with them, and they feel it too, and whoever's got the hot hand is going to stay, and they understand it. Like, oh yeah, he's balling, Coach. I remember looking one of them on the sideline and saying, Coach, he's balling, he's feeling it, let him go.
And so obviously, last year not a ton of injuries, and you guys cruised to the conference title. This year, a lot of adversity, but you guys are still very much in the thick of things. 10-win season, still very much in that grasp. Kind of collectively, where do you think what you've learned about the character of this group of 2025 Sun Devils?
Well, they just, like I said, they respond and they take everything in stride. The one thing they both have is they love their teammates, they love the school, and they play hard. And so this team, they learn from their mistakes. They've got good thick skin. When I jump on them, and then they pull together. And if you remember last year, it was a grind too until that last game in the championship game. So it's the same. It's the love of the grind and the love of the work is what drives these guys, and we do it. It's not just words on the wall. We have more fun working harder than anybody in the country, and you have to. These kids do it. They show it how they play.
And going up to face a Colorado defense that has had some struggles over the course of the season, but still some very talented players at all three levels. What kind of jumps out about what they like to do and some of the things that your group's going to have to do to have success?
Yeah, we don't really look at the numbers, but we just look at the film. They're well coached. They play violent. They play hard. It's just they run into some bad lucks where it's a missed tackle here and this and that. So they're in the right spot. They've got a good, well-coached D-line. They're thick inside. They're athletic and explosive on the outside. And so they're going to present a challenge, and they move then they stun, and you can't really tell when they're moving and stunning and blitzing. So they do a good job. The linebackers do a great job of kind of triggering on the run game, and sometimes bluffing when they're blitzing and stuff like that. So they do a great job. They're in the right spot, and just sometimes you get in some bad luck and you miss a tackle here or there, or someone makes a play. So I just think they've have a handful of bad luck plays on the defensive side, or other their record, their numbers and their record would be different. But really good, really talented, just like everybody in this league, man. They got some skill.